update.
Nope, there we go.
Hooray!
3, 2, 1.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cora's Cooking Channel.
With special guest, totally not a brony.
Hello.
He's actually a brony, whether he admits it or not.
Well, at least I'm not Rebecca Choquette.
Is that how you
Horizon
pronounce
said
your
you
name?
were. Horizon
I've
said you
always-
were.
Oh, wait. Did that? Okay. Is that how you pronounce her name? I've always pronounced it Schwashe.
It's
think it's
Choquette, straight from her mouth, because I do my research.
Schwashe.
Okay, I will accept this.
So, Seattle's Angels, podcast number something. We talk and cook sometimes edition. Do we actually have the people who did the reviews?
We both of us are
Yeah,
here.
we're both
Right.
Yeah.
Bye.
We
Okay.
have C and Core, so we can actually talk about reviews, because we're doing them again. Yay!
It's been so long
Oh.
since I saw
We do
you guys,
reviews?
but-
I didn't know we did reviews.
Well, we did until somebody died.
Well,
You mean repeatedly?
I mean, you saw my laptop, right?
No.
No.
Oh.
That's
Oh,
the point.
I have to go find pictures of it then.
I remember seeing part of like the frame for your laptop monitor.
Yes, that was a thing that you're not supposed to see, but you saw.
Oh dear. Anyway, hi guys, we're Seattle's Angels. We occasionally review stories and talk about authors. Apparently, I'm Professor
Yes.
Plum tonight.
That was like
Yes.
Apparently you are.
that was like the fifth time we've introduced ourselves to the audience. How about we
Apparently, I'm Rebecca Choquette tonight.
Yes.
we have a
Okay,
special guest
masquerading
before
as an
that.
American man.
Do you guys have anything to say about the reviews that you did recently that were all about bacon?
Why don't we
It was
talk about
a
those
wonderful experience for everyone involved.
reviews? The excellent bacon
Except me.
reviews. And poor Correjo being traumatized. So, first story was of Donuts and Train Rides by the Apex Sovereign.
Yes, that was a good one.
Sunset
That
King
was,
Bacon Princess.
I think that was the shortest one of the group, and honestly, I think that was my favorite of the four, just because it was
the
so.
shortest?
Huh?
Oh,
Is
hey, I'm
it-
back.
It was the shortest?
Oh, he died. Of course he did.
Yeah.
Naturally.
See, my laptop is better, but my internet is not. So
Yeah, where are you even at right now? You look like you're in a warehouse for like
I'm
Bed
in the
Bath & Beyond,
basement.
and now we can't even see you.
Oh,
Come on, see.
well, I mean, not sure what you want from me.
I mean, we can't even see red, so...
This is true.
I mean, geez, Core, you're so critical. You're like, oh, see, I can't see you. Oh, see, I can see you, but now your place looks terrible. Oh, now I can't see you again.
So rude.
That's a very interesting descriptor of someone's house. A basement of Bed Bath & Beyond.
It does. It
I
looks.
mean, it's better than saying
Doesn't
it's
it?
like a
It's got
picture
like
or
the
something.
knickknacks and stuff all over the place, and it's even got the vent running along the side. So look, it's a basement.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Let's go with that. She
I
lives
will
in a
accept it.
basement.
I will accept this. My lot in life.
What was it that made story one your favorite, Core?
It was just really. Oh, no, my internet's crapping. You guys still hear me?
Yes.
You can still hear you.
Okay, I'm back.
Also,
Cool.
we have D.
It was just a really D. Oh God.
I like how you just quietly joined and said nothing. Say
Oh
hello
my
to
God.
you, Twit.
Just there he is. Just hello.
Are you actually talking to
I
me,
guess
or
He's
is
not,
this the whole...
he's not even talking.
I guess we
Yeah,
have
well, I mean, I know
Well,
he's
he's
got
bleeding, that's why.
kids visiting, so he doesn't want to wake him up.
our
So I said we should
second
clearly be really loud and inappropriate.
special guest, Wanderer D, who just walked in through our unlocked door. And
I
Well,
mean,
no, he's
maybe we should
Mexican. He
walk it
clearly
one
picked
day.
the locks.
Oh wow.
Whoa,
No, you're.
Hey, now, we're all NAFTA bros here, okay?
You're just quietly smiling, just plotting your murder or something.
Plot revenge.
So,
So yes, that review. Yes, the Donuts and Train Rides. I really like that one, just because it's one of those short and sweet fix. You know, Like, you don't. I mean, you see a lot of them around the place, but this one was just. I just really like how the conversation flowed, and it didn't like try and get zany or crazy or anything like that. It was just trying to be itself.
So it's a
And
story about the conversation is the whole story?
yes, just their little like 2 or 3 minute conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It's Sunset Shimmer and Donut Joe, and he's like he's going through the train selling his donuts, and she's on the train, and they're like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" And then they talk.
It's funny. It's actually been a long. It's actually been a long time since I saw Donut Joe being used as like that sounding board for other characters. Like when he was first introduced, everybody made him out to be the typical bartender type of character. Even the show did.
Yeah, but that's exactly what he was, though.
I know, but like it's been a long time since I've seen anybody use him like that. Is all.
Do people actually use him in a different way?
Well, there's like the Con Main angle.
A bunch of people had him. I don't know if it was because of the Descendant or not, but like a bunch of people had him as like a retired soldier or something. And
Yes, that was Descendant.
That's an interesting
It's like
idea.
it's like that.
STD.
It's like the innkeeper in the Dungeons and Dragons stuff. It's like.
Yeah, I'm an ex-adventurer and all that stuff, so I can give you advice, but I'm too old to do it anymore.
he gives you advice and magical donuts for the journey.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, half my country was founded on donuts, thank you.
So, story number 2.
See, what did you like about it?
Or story number 1 again.
Well, either or. Do you want to ramble about
Number
stuff, or do you want
Where
to
do
move
you
to the
have
second
anything to
one?
say?
Actually, I don't really have that much to say about the first one because it was Cole's favorite. It was my least favorite. So, I mean, it was already hard enough for me to review. It's just a story with Sunset Shimmer. That's really all I care about, right?
Ouch. Jeez, somebody warned the author.
No, it was a good story.
It wasn't your favorite kind of thing.
It's one that I liked a fair amount, but it's hard for me to talk about. I don't know why. It's just one of those kind of stories, I guess.
It's like Fight Club.
Sure, we'll go with
It
that.
had a certain je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, that indefinable quality.
Right.
That is literally only all the French I know.
We?
I guarantee you know more French than that because
it's more French
English
than
uses a
I
lot
know.
of French.
Pretty sure Guten Abend came from southern France.
German. Guten Abend is German. It means good afternoon.
I know. I was just...
Making sure.
Story number 2. Dune Goddess by
Story number
Ray.
2. Yes. Dune Goddess. I like
So
that one too.
I have a secret. In
Oh dear.
case you didn't know, I really like world building. So
You
this story
don't
did a lot
say.
for me.
Is that why
I know.
your empire is so expansionist?
It might be.
Alright, so
This story
tell us
takes
about
place
the
in
world
Saudi
building.
Arabia, and it doesn't do it from a point of view like going to the capital city and learning about all the politics and whatnot. It takes us instead to a small town, so we get to learn about just general culture of the people living there, and I thought that was really cool. That it chose instead to go for more of the small town kind of feel, where most of the culture really is where it happens. And it
So
also
it's very
has
much
genies, and
more
genies are
narrow
cool.
view. G's or gins?
Yes, but it shows you. It's a snapshot of how the people live.
When I saw the title for that one originally, without reading the description, I was hoping for something like The Alchemist, like the pony version. That would be awesome, like a pony version of The Alchemist.
I don't know The Alchemist.
You don't know The Alchemist?
It doesn't sound familiar.
Oh god. Parrot, I have to help you somehow. This
Oh,
has to be
dear.
corrected. No, that's literally like one of the great books of literature.
Yes, but many of the great books of literature are absolute tripe. Like,
No,
have you
that-
tried
no,
to read the original Frankenstein? Oh
Yeah.
my god, it's painful.
It's
She
intentionally
doesn't
painful though.
Shut up!
It is intentionally painful, but
all you
no.
have to remember from that is that it was a dark and stormy night. And you're good to go.
Yeah, but it's just like the Frankenstein, like the modern version of Frankenstein has almost nothing to do with the original. And the original is just, oh god.
But that's the reason.
Forced to read it.
I read like the great. It was like this abridged kiddie version of the Frankenstein. They did a whole series called like Great Classics for Kids or something.
Oh, I remember those.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact name of the series.
30 pages kind of thing.
Yeah.
What was like the Ladybug version or what?
Adorable. Yeah, pretty much.
Wow.
They're just like basically it's like the Cliff Notes kind of thing.
Yeah.
They're literally
I can see
like
that
they
happening.
compress like 30 pages in like simple English.
Oh, I have something like that. I have like a Spanish version of like, you know, like it's like 100 stories, and it's basically 100 pages. You know? It's like, and they do like, you know, like they have
He
like
ate a bone. The end.
no, seriously, it has like 1001 Nights, you know, like Arabian Nights, and it's like 1-page summary. It's kind of like
That's tragic. 1001 Arabian Nights is amazing.
It is. You should still read The Alchemist now.
I will totally take a look at it. It's just you haven't sold it on me very well.
Now just look it up. Just look it up.
Core, what do you like about the second story?
I read the comic book version of The Alchemist. Does that count?
Yes.
You know, you make sure it wasn't Full Metal Alchemist, right?
Yeah, I'm sure it wasn't.
I'm just checking. By the way, you know, cookies and milk taste much better when the milk is mixed up with Kahlua.
I would probably go with Bailey's myself. But I don't like coffee.
I ran out of Baileys.
Fair enough. All right, Core, what did you like about the second story? Whenever he gets back. Oh god, he's killing things in the kitchen again.
It's amazing.
Run off to cook more stuff.
I was like, what do you think about it?
His opinion. Yeah, exactly.
That's how he centers himself. That's how he processes stories. He cooks things.
He throws things in the kitchen. All right, C, what did you like about the third story? Don't You Forget About Me by A Hooful of Dust.
No, that's story number 4.
Oh, sorry, it is. I skipped over 3. I'm so sorry. Diary of the Fallen Star by Piccolo Sky.
I'm back. I heard Fred Simon in. What's up?
Oh.
I don't know. Are we skipping over him, or are we actually going to let him talk?
Well, you can let him talk. He's here.
What
He got
did
here
you like
just in
about the
time.
second story?
I like about the second story? I liked it was, like you said, it was world building, but it wasn't too much. I thought it was well paced. It wasn't like I was trying to shove world building down your throat. It was just kind of there, and that set a better backdrop than someone that was like trying to just build a world and nothing else. And another thing that I liked is how the interplay between Philly, Sunset Shimmer, and Celestia, which I thought was a lot of fun. But I did think that she was a little too wisecracky at points.
You like your bacon without excessive snark?
I like my bacon with snark, but not too much, yes. Everything in moderation.
Sunset Shimmer did strike me more as condescending rather than comical.
I mean, I could imagine
she's pretty haughty, yeah. But I mean, that kind of goes with the character that she grew up into in the first movie.
So it sort of depends on how far along she is in that development.
Right.
I mean, are you suggesting that she was always like that, or is this just after she passed through the mirror she became that?
I'm assuming this is like early to mid tutelage under Celestia, so she's probably not to the condescending part of it yet. She's getting there, but she's not there yet. So she's she's like the snarky is developing into condescending.
She's developing the bad habits.
Yes.
Right.
And she's a filly, so she can get away with it too. So.
I can get away with this because I'm adorable. Suck it, everybody else.
Basically.
All right, story number 3, Diary of the Fallen Star by Piccolo Sky. Quite an interesting username, given that the title image is apparently of a sunset sky.
I was gonna say, I
Well,
feel like
it's
I've
a
seen that
sunset
picture a
shimmer,
lot,
okay?
though.
It's a shimmering sunset, all right?
I don't know. I think it needs a little more
Okay,
shimmer.
you get it?
The
Hey, you
depth
see it?
of
There's symbolism right there.
the depth of literature is almost too much.
Oh my side.
It's up to my ears in symbolism.
Why can't I hold all these metaphors?
Alright. Steve, what did you
Okay.
think of the story?
So this one was my favorite, and it was able to take material we're already familiar with, like the events of the movies or the end result of her trilogy with Celestia, and it was able to present a different enough perspective and add enough information that even if we knew the outcome of what was going to happen, it really didn't affect the quality of the story. It was still very interesting to read what was going to happen next with each successive entry.
Yeah, I liked how it just kind of descended in the in the first parts of the story. I loved how it descended. Like I mentioned in my review that you could read just the first chapter as a standalone, and and then you just like imagine that there's like a dark tag on it. And I really like that about the first part, and then how it goes on from there. It's just really well put together, like how Piccolo Sky just gets into her mindset, and it's not like you're just seeing like snapshots. You're like really seeing the flow of all of the diary entries put together.
Seeing how it all builds upon itself.
Mm-hmm.
How she slowly descends to falling, and then how from there when she hits rock bottom, how she gets back up, and it's again, even though you know what's going to happen, it's really cool to see.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's one of the things I like about MLP in general, is that there seems to be a lot of blank spots, and that even though, like, we know that Luna became, like, one of the big things was Luna becoming Nightmare Moon. We know she did, but a lot of people like to write about how she did it.
Yeah, but what exactly led her down that path?
Yeah. Story number 4. Don't you, parentheses, forget about me, in parentheses, by a Hoop Full of Dust.
Definitely not a song by Simple Minds. Nope. Not at all.
Or a reference to The Breakfast Club.
No, not that either. I may not, and I also definitely did not make a joke about Simple Minds in my review.
Why not?
I don't know.
Yes, you
Couldn't
did.
do
You
it.
put the name in there, right there.
You're not supposed to say that.
And then also down here at the end.
No, I didn't do that either.
Simple Minds
you can't prove
a
it.
hoop full of dust.
I think all of his stories are song titles. I'm
Also,
pretty
all of
sure
his cover images are of trees. Not that I'm complaining, it's just a quirk of his.
Yes, I think it's kind
But
of
it's interesting because he seems to make them match up with the story fairly well. So it's
Mhm.
an affectation. He's not letting dictate his work. Or if he is, he's covering it really well.
Oh, I get it. It's a picture of a tree, and it's got a mirror image on the lake because it's about Twilight going back to the mirror. I just noticed that.
Bravo, Red, you get the gold star today.
Yeah.
All right, now that the reviews are done, we can actually talk to the guest.
Hello.
We have with us the excellent Totally Not a Brony, who has written far too many stories, I think none of which we've featured because he actually has popularity.
Thank you.
More's the pity.
That's good, I guess.
Can you
When you put it
confirm
like,
that
when you
you're
put it
not
like that,
Rebecca
it's kind of.
Shorshit? Can you confirm that you're not Rebecca Shorshit?
Well, I mean, I've never been photographed in the same room with a raging she-demon.
Well, I think that's good enough.
Alright, you recently just put out a new story called We Rent the Night, which apparently has Trixie in lunar guard armor on the front and some other ponies behind her.
Yeah,
And a mystery tag.
yeah, it's one of those deals that the cover art came together before the story did, And it's also one of the rare deals for me that I wrote the whole story before I uploaded it, so I actually knew how it was going to end. I know, what a concept, right?
So what do you normally do? You don't tend to actually write everything out and then upload it piecemeal?
I
You
mean,
tend to
it's only
actually.
rarely that I even have an editor.
I'm hurt. I
Yeah,
don't count as an editor anymore?
I mean, I said rarely.
Jeez.
You've been an editor
You
like half
harass
a
the
dozen
guy to
times,
edit
but I've
as
got like
often as he'll
98
let you.
stories.
Yeah, because I didn't know you before that.
Wow.
You know. Yeah, I'm not really a good example of the writing process. Some stories have come together in less than 2 hours and just sort of gotten shoved off. And then some stories take months of research, and success is a fickle beast.
Hmm.
Understandable. So most of your specialty seems to be a lot of. Um, sorry, I'm just going through your stories. I hadn't seen three-quarter Hitler before.
Yeah, my writing process. I mentioned that.
Just how bad will things be when the ponies meet a fraction of the universe's most notorious art student?
Yeah, three-quarters Hitler.
Oh, you wrote a Prince Blueblood story. I'm an instant fan.
Yeah, that was a collaboration with Rainbow Bob.
Nice. I haven't seen
Well,
that
I
guy
already
in a
commented
while.
on. I already commented on We Rent the Night, so
I
you know
saw
I like.
that. Thank you.
Yeah,
So clearly you should say something about it.
it was nice. No, I'm just kidding. I like her vein. Uh, no, I mean, I actually, it's I actually expected it to be much longer, to be honest. Because it just, I mean, granted, it's just like a little chapter of Trixie's life. Like she's really, really not invested in it as well. But I had, it kind of like sort of grows on her a little bit. But again, I just from the way it started, it just felt like it was going to be like one of those long stories. So
Yeah,
I
that
was sad to.
happens to me a lot. As Ferret has written in regards to writing styles, I've occasionally been called too efficient.
Hmm. I
Yeah, in
mean,
case
like
anyone's
on the.
wondering, I did a blog post comparing him in Short Skirts and Explosions because it was the two extremes.
Yeah, this one
Oh, that's kind
stuff.
of
TNG,
mean.
who can literally write an entire scene in 3 sentences, and Skirts, who takes 4 pages to do the exact same scene.
Yeah, there was this one time that I wrote a story about a U.S. Navy battleship going through a portal, getting transported to Equestria, accidentally getting involved in foreign relations. Uh, war were declared. Many dragons were
Forward declines seems
slaughtered.
to happen a lot in your stories.
Zakor became a revolutionary leader. War was ended. Along the way, Twilight was introduced to Coca-Cola. And then the battleship went home, and all that took 16,000 words.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say like 5,000, but yeah, I'm glad it was at least 16. Yeah, I've seen a couple of guys that are like, like take the brevity up to the extreme, and that's, that's something that actually kind of like, I've read a couple of articles where people criticize just, like how people can actually compress, like they edit and creative write so much stuff down to like the bare essentials that, like a lot of the style is gone. So 16,000 words for a story like that, I think it's pretty decent.
Yeah,
Well, on the other hand, I think there can be a style itself in that brevity.
well, word choice is a big deal. If you, I remember the phrase, words are scalpels, not sledgehammers. And if you use them very carefully, you can convey what you mean. Uh, and I don't know. I guess I tend to say what I mean the first time and not add and expound to it. There's advantages to both.
But there's
Yeah.
a lot of subtle arrogance in that tone. I mean, I guess I just tend to say what I mean the first time.
I suppose so. Yeah.
I'm
So you're a
sorry.
first draft you're a first draft type of guy.
Yes, usually. As I said, a lot of my stories don't even see an editor at all. I'm a
I hear
terrible
you.
example of the writing process.
It's okay. No, we're brothers in arms there.
Okay.
Yeah.
There are a lot
I
of
can't
authors
remember
I
how
think
many.
who do that.
Was that?
who kind of, I think there are a lot of authors who do that, where so many people are always like, oh, no, no, you have to go through at least this many drafts. And there are so many authors who just kind of, the first draft just works and that's what they publish and it's perfectly good, and they can go back and try to refine it and the third draft will pretty much look identical to the first one.
That happens a lot of times. It's kind of like, like you go, you write the thing, and then you return to the beginning because they told you that you should edit it, and and your creative writing teacher was like, "Oh, Carlos, you really have to do this." And then you go back, you read the whole damn thing, you write a completely different story, then you realize you hate it, and then you just resubmit the first one, and they pass it, and they don't remember anyway.
Yeah.
Yep.
So. But We Were the Night got a little bit more attention than most of my stories do. I had an editor, a pre-reader, and the whole thing was written out before I started uploading it. But the thing that I wrote recently that contained more of everything than anything of recent late is a 20-page paper I wrote on the effects of nationalism due to censorship in China. It saw a half a dozen editors
more interesting than I thought it would
3
be.
weeks to write 5,500 words. But yeah, I have to thank Ferret for that. I hope I was able to teach people things.
You did, and that's my point. Like, I kind of went into it expecting it to be a fairly dry, like I wasn't going to get much of it. And I think you actually did a really solid job on it. It worked really well for sort of introducing people who had never thought about this or didn't really know much about it, other than, oh my God, China has some of the most strict censorship out there, and likes to anthropomorphize stuff.
I tried to take that approach and walk through China's history because I needed length.
But it also works to help explain where they come from and why, how they've gotten to the position they're in. Of this is not going to work out long term unless you literally build a wall.
Yeah, some of the history and the way things have developed rolls back into your earlier discussion of world building.
I don't often take a lot of cues from real world history when I world build.
Is that just because you prefer the worlds you come up with, Red, or you don't like studying history, or?
I love studying history, but I don't know. I just find that they don't. I do like the worlds that I come up with better, to be quite honest.
That's fair.
That's fair.
Like, no, I don't want to seem like a misanthrope or anything, but
the real world can suck it. My worlds are way better.
Yeah, totally. God.
Every time you say something that starts with "I don't want to seem like I'm," but that's that pretty much.
Slippery slope.
I basically spent all day inside, so.
It's okay. It happens to all of us,
Well,
I don't want to sound racist, but I guess I are not as cool as unicorns. I just asked. Being racist.
To take that a different direction, I think I prefer real-world history a little bit more because then I can be all arrogant about my interpretation of it.
Yeah, let's talk about your blog post to go, this is how smart I am.
Yeah. I write this story called A Dream. It's been running for about 4 years now. It has a chapter for every episode of the show.
And usually comes up about a week after the episode, which is pretty good.
Yeah, knowing that how things are going to work out and some insights that I happen to have, I'm able to do some long-term planning. And I've successfully set up...
Just because you keep a staffer locked in your basement doesn't mean you get to be smug about it.
I've never said anything like that. But that's beside the point. So I'm able to set up things long in advance. I've set up plot points that last entire seasons, and this is with me writing a chapter a week after every episode. I've set up jokes that have lasted multiple weeks. I think my record for a joke is 7 months.
Jesus. Which one was that?
Plot point has been 13 months. I introduced a character that over a year later, in a different season. Anyway. There was this one time that I introduced a tragic OC that 3 weeks later suffered multiple amputation, and her only purpose in the entire story was to lead up to a Forrest Gump joke.
Wow.
And then there's, the helicopter joke.
7 months to set that one up.
Yep. Character starts saying hella just so you can make her a helicopter.
So you're basically like the George Clooney of Bronydom.
George R. Martin, perhaps? I'm not sure I'm understanding your reference there.
George Clooney is kind of infamous for setting up jokes, such as, for example, finding like a discarded painting on the street and giving it to Brad Pitt, I believe, and insisting that he had, like, it was like a horrible thing, and he told him that he had painted it himself, and he forced him to put it in his living room, and he didn't tell him the truth for like 3 years.
Okay, yeah.
I don't think it was Brad Pitt. It was someone else, but it was like along those lines.
He likes long-term gags.
I'm very, very out of touch with celebrity lives. Most of what I think about is facts and figures, which is going back to the world building. That's why so many of my stories are tagged for humans, because I like the world we live in. I mean, it can be changed, but, I take my own take on it, and it's easier to do research than it is to come up with new stuff. As I said, I've put in a lot of minimal effort here. And sometimes I get other people to do research for me. Like that one time there was this guy that got arrested. No, he didn't get arrested. He almost got arrested by Air Force security for taking pictures of a base. I didn't ask him to, but he did do it for me, so there's that.
And then there's me where you go, Ferret, you're female, you know what romance novels are, give me some titles. Wikipedia.
Yeah, I'm not good at romance.
I know, but that was so hilarious, because you're like, oh yeah, I just need like titles and a brief blurb. I'm like, okay, here's titles and blurb, and like, here's like Twilight's take on them. Okay, I'm not going to use any of that, but thanks!
Yeah, I once tried to write a romance, a clop, but I failed utterly because I didn't have enough synonyms for genitalia.
I'm pretty sure Cyborg Samurai has a dictionary of clop terms.
Yes, I didn't know that at the time.
Yes.
I had to Google it, and that still wasn't enough.
We must
also, that was a really awkward Google.
We must get filthier. More purple.
You can just invent your own.
I suppose there is that. I'm currently in the middle of writing a shipping story that involves the post office, so no one's really sure exactly what kind of shipping I'm talking about. But it involves the phrase "Unit A into Slot B."
You sure shouldn't tab A into Slot B?
I mean, yeah, but that doesn't work as well as euphemism for genitalia.
You'd be surprised.
Well, I'm just saying, unit is... Yeah, okay.
Tab
I'm sure you can find a creative way. I think you can find a creative way in that set to use the phrase, lick that stamp in a way that...
I'm going to write that down. And then I'm going to credit you.
Excellent.
Make sure you lick that stamp. Oh.
Lick it really well. It's got to be nice and moist.
And then you have a character that's actually called Postal Stamp or something like that.
No, it's going to be main six and crack ships that were suggested for my blog.
Oh,
I like to be very, very inclusive with readers.
I do recall in that Look How Smart I Am thing, explaining the stuff used from the readers, there are a couple of people who were very excited by that. Oh my god, I made it in the story, I'm so happy.
Yeah, part of the beauty of writing a story with a regular update schedule is that you can respond to comments on previous chapters. Just little in-jokes and things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
So your story
right,
seems to... What's that?
Yeah, all right.
How did Cole's cooking show go?
Good. Almost too much food.
Core's got a whole secondary audience that he panders to when he's not on camera.
Basically.
Oh.
mean, we gotta have priorities. And of course, happens to be that he talks suggestively about food while he cooks, then that's his thing.
Well, if you want to get into that,
Yeah, I don't know. We gotta keep it PG, don't we?
well,
Or at least,
you got
Because YouTube will take it down.
Is that a PG a minute ago? That
So
sounded pretty
TV
13
shows
to
seem
me.
to vary pretty wildly between. You'll have like very well researched and thought out like serious military. Like Bulbasaur is Pinky's father.
Wait, Bulbasaur is Pinky's father?
Bulbasaur is Pinky's father.
Like the
Yeah,
Pokemon?
I wrote that
Yes.
story. Yeah.
Wow.
So how does does your writing style vary between those two? Where because something like Struggle comes across as you've put some serious work and research into it, and then Bulbasaur's Pinky's father comes across as like a little more ridiculous.
Just a little though.
Well, I have ideas, and the ideas
And then
vary
bad
widely
things happen?
from takes 5 minutes to write is crack to takes months to write is serious. It happens.
I'm just reading
Probably
the short description of that, and it's just ridiculous.
Yes,
a little bit, yeah.
that's why I asked about it.
Yeah, it probably the risk versus time invested and reward goes to the story MVP, which I had while I was eating hot wings, wrote in like 45 minutes, and then it went to the featured box. And it's featured on TV Tropes as an example of cover art spoiling the plot.
Oops.
I don't know. TV Tropes is one of the biggest sources of outside links. I work the data on referrals to stories. Space Battles seems to like me. Reddit, as of late, has become more active, and TV Tropes occasionally. Some people even use Bing.
Oh, God.
I know. That's a horrible thing.
I do
What
recall
is-
hearing the other day that because Google has been so aggressive about their safe search, that Bing has become the main porn search engine. Because they don't filter it the way Google does, since Google, safe search is now automatically on, regardless of what you look for.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it has been like that for a while. They just pretend it isn't.
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
Space Battles has a really. What's that?
Sorry, Space Battles?
Yeah, no. Space Battles has a very large group of people that are really invested in reading fan fiction from us. And there's a lot of crossover as well. So.
What
I
do you mean?
mean,
Battles? Like,
as
what
I
do you-
understand, some of the stuff that I've written is compatible with that mindset.
Space Battles is very, very varied. There really is, a little bit of everything. It's very similar to Reddit in terms of there is a little bit of everything all over it.
What even is Space Battles? I don't know.
I don't know it specifically. I know it is just a general forum. And
Yeah.
the main thing I get from Space Battles is Captain Chrysalis's Mass Effect crossover story that I should catch up on, and the My Little Pony time loop fix all come from Space Battles.
Yeah. There's just a huge community of a lot of pop and video games references, and so all the nerds and geeks gather and share links and stuff like that. It's just a huge forum.
I always assumed it had Space Battles.
I suspect Space Battles happen in it, and that may have been the original plan.
Oh, okay. I wrote a battle in space once.
You've written about space a couple of times.
Literally, you were in space when you wrote it, or about a battle in space?
Yeah.
Well, I meant a battle in space, but yeah, it was complicated.
Okay.
It was.
And then
It was.
you wrote
It
a
was
story
another
about
one of
AJ
them.
being a truck.
Writing about a space
Yeah,
battle
yeah.
while you are in the space battle in space, it would be an impressive feat.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it sounds like a little dangerous. That'd be something for the HFY threads on Reddit.
Well, I know what I want to talk about. Her butt slammed shut.
Yes, that was a story. It just the line came to me one day, and I kicked it
Well,
around for a
poem,
while,
apparently.
and realized that it should be a poem because it rhymed, and it took off from there. And
Did your
thanks
wife
to
get really annoyed at you for that or something? Or was just
um,
really unimpressed?
a little bit.
I just
uh,
remember you telling me that going, yeah, Wolf's mad at me.
yeah, so it transferred to the internet, and a large audience has come to follow and contribute to it. I would totally take submissions from all of you, by the way.
You heard it, guys. If you want to write erotic poetry, TNAB would love to have
And
it.
not necessarily that. It's just questionable poetry.
Fair enough.
I can only write horrible poetry.
I mean,
Well, I think
that
that's
counts.
part of
That
the
counts.
appeal. I mean, come on. It's literally called Her Butt Slammed Shut.
You
This
can't
is
do
not
worse.
like
I'm trying to find.
Pulitzer level of quality here.
Hold on. How far down is this? I'm looking for it.
About halfway.
Just,
Oddly enough, I think I have
You're
actually
really
read that.
cutting that.
I've read a bunch of them. I haven't read them all because there's so many.
Yeah, there's over 100 poems in the collection.
Yeah.
This is what I do with my time.
I'd say that
Sometimes
there are many worse things to do.
Sometimes I wonder what I would do if I did not have this website. I might be really bored.
I feel like
Or
you
rich.
would find something else, but it would probably be slightly more self-destructive than this.
It's possible. It's possible.
I mean, it's not that you'd get almost arrested for sneaking onto military bases and taking photos for your own interest.
That wasn't me. That was somebody else who
That's
did
my
it for
point.
me.
If you didn't have this website, it might have been you.
Did they actually explain to that, to the officers? They're like, I'm taking pictures for a My Little Pony fanfic.
I didn't ask. I would just said thank you for getting the pictures.
Policy. I don't think they believed them actually. When Sunchaser, Taman, and I went down for BronyCon last year, we went a week early, and they actually sent us in for questioning and stuff because the officer was so suspicious of us going, yeah, we're going for a pony convention. Well, because we were like, we're going out for a convention. What kind? And I'm in the backseat. I'm like, it's for My Little Pony. And she's just like, can you pull over?
Yeah,
Your American customs officers are terrifying. You come to friggin' Canada, we go, do you have any liquor? Do you have anything declared? Nope, welcome to Canada. You guys are like, we're going to shoot you if we feel like it. Now go sit in the room and don't talk to anyone, and we will stab you if you take out your cell phone because we own you.
I did not have that experience at all when traveling.
Yeah.
To be fair, I had a similar experience in Vancouver. We were crossing the border to the north, and the Canadian customs officer asked us if we had any, guns, knives, bear spray, or pep, and I kind of laughed, bear spray, and he says, "Why is that funny?" No, it's not funny. And he explained that bear spray is the same thing as pepper spray, which is legal in Canada.
No, it's pepper
but my point is, all
but
customs officers
stronger.
are their own way. So there's that.
Yeah.
Speaking of traveling, I realized that this Christmas season I'm going to be able to complete my crazy trip and arrive back where I started. So assuming that I can get a book deal out of this, I will be able to bill it as a circumnavigation of the United States and 3 Canadian provinces.
That's not a bad idea.
My estimate is 17,000 miles total.
Yeah, I could see that.
For those of you who don't regularly read my blog, I took a 50-day road trip over the summer, and now I'm going to do some more to make it longer, and then hopefully
He's one
write
of
a
those
book about
people
it.
who really like staying in hotel rooms.
I don't. Just because you do something a lot doesn't mean you like it. It's the same lesson I was trying to push in We Rent the Night.
Yes, but it's so much more fun when you can just say stuff and randomly wind people up.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So You've written several stories about the main six being various objects. You have one about AJ being a truck, you've got one about the main six being motorcycles, and one about guns. But you actually seem to have put a lot of work into the stories. They're not just, the random pony is X or Y. There
You
is an
might be
actual...
surprised how little work I put.
You actually try to put a plot behind them, though, rather than just like, hey, look, they're X. Isn't that hilarious? So I'm
Okay.
curious to know about that.
Well, Elements of Harm was only so popular because the story submission stalled, and it was at the top of the front page for over 24 hours.
Ooh, yeah, that do it.
Yeah. The one about the motorcycles was basically just a retelling of the first episode, so I can't take too much credit there. And I honestly don't remember where I got the idea for Applejack turns into a pickup truck, but that happened. And it was all a build up to a pun, of course.
Naturally.
The sequel to that, where Fluttershy turns into a Dodge Viper and meets zombie Johnny Cash, that was further out there. Yeah. Jeez, tough audience, huh?
I think confused audience. I don't think they're unimpressed. I think they're just kind of baffled.
It doesn't help that I'm also modding the freaking website right now.
Okay, I completely understand.
He decides we're not interesting enough, so he has to keep working. Jeez.
Although I have to admit, though, what?
No, go ahead, D.
I was just going to say I have to admit that the idea of Applejack being a truck is just oddly appealing.
Okay, I mean...
Yeah, the description's pretty hilarious, too.
Yeah. It makes him more interesting, actually, as a character.
I mean, I try.
Now you're just trying to start fight.
What? She's just not, it's just she's just not interesting, generally speaking. But if you turn her into a truck, it's something new.
Has been becoming more interesting. Throughout Season 5, she's been getting more and more one-liners. And I put forth the theory the other day that if Twilight didn't have massively overpowered magic, Applejack would probably be the team leader.
I could see it.
Or Applejack could be Spike. It's kind of like less Spike, more Applejack now, like one-liners.
A little bit, yeah.
Start fights here, Jesus.
I'm not starting fights. I'm just saying.
Tonight.
What?
What are they doing on the site? Jesus, that's starting this stuff up. So a lot of your cover art seems to vary a lot. Do you tend to commission cover art, or do you make it yourself, or do you just sort of go trawling Derpy Booer and go, this looks accurate?
A combination of that, yes. Since I realized that I could kind of make some art occasionally myself too, I've been doing more of my own covers. Previously, some people had taken a liking to me, especially early on in the Vampire Charlie series. The user by the name of The Dr. Hooves, who I haven't seen in 2 years, drew a lot of those. He's a great artist. But yeah, honestly, a lot of it's just, rolling around and saying, hey, that looks just perfect for the story.
Very cool, very cool. Do you tend to find you'll get permission to modify the art, or do you tend to just use the picture as is?
Typically, I don't if I'm going to use somebody's art, it's already pretty close to what I wanted. Don't need to modify very much.
Okay. I take it back. We could totally feature stories by you. You actually do have a couple of fics that are under 1,500 views. I'm shocked.
Wait, under what now? What's the requirement?
1,500 views.
Oh, okay,
soft
yeah.
limit is under 1,000,
I've written so
or hard limit is under 1,500.
Some of them fail pretty hard. So yeah, you've got 24 stories to pick from there.
Well, the lowest one is the Kansas one, because
she's talking about the story Kansas Princess, which is a crossover with Supernatural.
Because it's literally Cadence and Sam. Sorry, Dean.
And nobody notices the difference.
Nope. It's great. Except I had to convince him that he could not. Did you end up using the name Captain Sexy McTight Pants
Yes, I
for Dean? I
did.
can't remember. Yes,
Yes, I
and I was
did.
like, you're gonna have people rage because that's supposed to be the name for Nathan Fillion. It's his like fan nickname.
Yes, well, that shows how much I know about Firefly.
I'm pretty sure I told you that, and you said care.
Which is my point. You know more than I do.
Thanks to Google. I freely admit when you were like, you're female, you watch Supernatural, right? No, but I can pretend I do. Okay.
Yes,
Which is
occasionally
that's
my
mean. I
writing is
actually have the
interrupted by
romance
terrible
novel one
sexism.
saved because I thought it was really funny. Awkward question. Awkward answer. Do you read Harlequin romance novels? Because I don't, and I need to know about them for a story.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Has anyone ever done a demographic study of this community? So I can know whether I'm being sexist or just picking my friends carefully?
I think there's one on.
There were a bunch
Yes.
done that they had over on EQD.
Yeah, we've featured several. The Brony Psychologists have done a bunch. There's a couple of other people who've done them at various times.
Tell me how.
Okay, well,
And it's okay, you're on the internet. You're supposed to be sexist.
I mean, there is
Is that
that.
how it
There's comfort in that. It's interesting how this writing is expanded because I think aren't characters in MLP like 6-to-1 female to male? So you're always
yes.
writing with a female perspective.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
It's also fascinating, too, because the majority of fan fiction writers in pretty much every other fandom are female, as opposed to here, where they're mostly guys.
That is true.
I find it actually pretty ironic and actually less ironic and more kind of like karma.
Bronies
balance
are the balance to the force.
Well,
Yeah,
the thing, yeah, I mean, like the thing is, like it's the only actual fan fiction site, like group of people that are like mostly male, where all, like where most, like when a lot of people assume that in fan fiction in general, it's mostly guys as well. So
Yeah, I
kind
mean,
of like
one of
kind
the
of like how people assume that there's no, like no girl geeks that like comics and that kind of BS.
Yeah.
I mean,
reminds me of an image I saw earlier of Natalie Portman wearing a shirt that said "Stop Wars," except that it was done in the Star Wars font. And someone had posted it with a comment, "Look at this fake geek. She probably hasn't even seen the movies."
Wow.
That's pretty hilarious.
Oh dear.
I mean, one of the things that made Brony stand out was that it was mostly guys, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh dear. All right. So you mentioned Vampire Cure Lee a couple of times. Do you want to talk about that series a bit?
So it was a spin-off of a crack fic that turned pretty serious and pretty dark. And I mean, I'm a big fan of descriptive titles. It's all right there. Cherylee's a vampire.
And she has adventures.
Yeah, many adventures.
What made you
Working
pick
as-
Shirley?
That's just how it worked out. It happened in this chapter that involved combat robots and finding changelings, and along the way she got turned into a vampire, and then I gave her her own series.
I think I've actually read the early version of that.
You've read one or two of them. I remember your comment.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
There you go, G. You are so popular.
You're famous.
A couple of you.
Who the
So
fuck?
it's like, yeah, but like, I mean, when I read it, it was like a long time ago. I mean, it doesn't mean that like, oh, Wonder commented on my fanfic. Who's that guy anyway? It's
No, it's.
And
oh
it's-
my
that's
God,
what's going to
Wonder
happen in a
commented
year
on my
anyway.
Fanfics. Holy shit.
it's depressing actually.
Senpai
It's,
noticed me.
Yeah.
I like to keep careful tabs on things. I periodically go through my list of followers and check people's pages. If they haven't had a comment in a long time, I leave one.
You're better than
I'm not quite as pervasive as the Descendant, but I like to think I can get around.
TD is just in a category by himself because he's TD.
Hmm.
He's too much.
That's why we love him, because he's so amazing.
Yeah. I mean, he does like he you know, like, I think he actually genuinely wants to welcome people into the site as well. So you know, like,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
it's not like just like, hi, welcome, ignore.
No, and he's a really good person to do that because he is genuinely so friendly and approachable. He is a very gentle soul, and he is very good for new people who are kind of like, I'm not really sure about this, but I've heard you guys are into weird porn, and he can go, no, it's okay. Only some people, and they're over there if you want them. If you don't, you can stay with us.
Here, have a fire extinguisher.
Exactly.
Keep them away.
I'm not into weird porn.
What?
Implying you're into regular porn?
I'm sorry, there's actually an airplane going over right now. Did you hear it?
Yeah, it's okay.
That's not an excuse to evade the question, though.
My excuse is that I don't want to answer it.
That's not an excuse. That's just an answer in and of itself. But come on, you came on the podcast. You know the rules.
Hey, Farrah, really random question. Do you remember at all if on the third episode, on the third chapter of the Google Doc of TSCA actually had any notes for the fourth chapter?
Say again? Sorry.
He's asking me something, and possibly
so many documents.
it might not have. Link me the doc, and I will take a look, because I may not have looked at it.
That's okay. I'll link you the fourth part when we get started on it. Okay, thanks. Sorry guys, I just too much here. Way too much.
He's just so important. He can't be arsed to keep his business out of our important faffing around.
I'm just a dick.
Speaking of important people,
you really can be.
I mean, there's no way around it.
We don't think I have any questions for T in the forum thread. I don't know if people chat can take a glance or have been keeping to see if people have been asking us things.
Yeah.
But Horizon can totally confirm that Totally Not a Brony is confirmed for Rebecca Shoachet, and CV confirms Totally Not Rebecca Shoachet.
Indeed.
And to answer you, CV, because we don't love you.
Going back to the topic of important people in your early conversation involving cover art, I did want to mention a fellow by the name of Rurik. Drop his link in there. He drew a piece of art for We Rent the Night, and he does commissions, so check him out.
Yeah, Rurik does really nice art, and he's a really good guy as well. He also does the really cool laser woodworking stuff.
Oh, yes, he's handy in real life, too.
Yeah, he's talented. Oh my god. I like the hat trick piece you did for him. That's very cute.
Yes, well, it was his birthday, so I quickly made a vector.
Which is to say, it's a baby Rurik with a hat falling on his head.
Yeah.
Because, as we established, Rurik is just a sapient hat with a body attached.
That's literally the description of his Tumblr.
Yep.
I met Rurik. I can't confirm this.
Mm-hmm. It's a very, very nice hat. But if he removes it, his brain starts pulsing oddly, and he has to put it back on.
He's Mojo Jojo?
No. Mojo Jojo likes to explode his brain.
Okay.
He displays it all lovingly. Rurik's a little more understated.
Well, this has been entertaining. Don't these things usually go another 20 minutes or so?
We do.
Yeah.
I think we're just trying to figure out what the hell else to talk about, because normally we go and harass the chat to give us questions. But they're all being lazy tonight.
Yes, you're right.
Don't say anything about chat, and I'm not in there to do it, so...
Many people traveling for the holidays.
Yeah, FinFig in general has been really slow.
Well, yeah, I mean, and again, that's a lot of people are going home for Christmas and such.
There's also the dip in traffic following the season finale.
Yeah.
Well, that's usually when the fan stuff starts pumping up.
I was going to say, there's usually a spike there, because that's when everyone really starts doing their writing, going, hey, nothing's going to ruin my headcanon for the next couple of months.
Well, yeah, but that was almost a month ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, I mean you can tell that there's a lot less people doing stuff right now because like the latest explosion of side blogs is just like 300 comments worth of complaints instead of the usual 700.
Well, in their
Okay,
defense,
all right.
Zach is not the best at explaining himself. I mean, I love him, and he's amazing at the site, and I totally agree with the rules updates, but he did not explain them well. Like, there are people
But that's
freaking out
that. Like,
right now.
I think you're misunderstanding him. I think he likes to let the rest of us kind of like have our spotlight.
He likes to stir up shit and then let you guys pour water on the fire. Oh dear.
I once wrote a blog called Getting the Point Across, which not only talked a little bit about my efficient writing, but also went into detail about how you can clearly communicate things and have people understand you.
Yes, but did you use any of the mods as examples of what to do or what not to do?
I try not to single people out.
Probably a safe plan.
You probably use anagrams of our names anyway.
Yeah, this is Wanderer S. Totally not related to any others.
I'll have you know I'm a star at PR. Except when it comes to except with 2 individuals, but yeah.
Well, I put the effort into it. That's what counts. So, for the Vampire Cheerleader stuff, have you basically sort of finished what you're doing with her? Because I know another author had picked up her character and was writing some stuff with her.
That's happened a couple of times. Unfortunately, a couple of those stories are canceled. I had communications with someone that's interested in writing one, and my policy is generally regarding that. If you want to write it, I'll help you out. The problem is there's been 10 or 11 stories, and that's a lot of material.
Yeah, that's fair.
I personally don't think I'll ever get around to writing much more of that. You never know. Maybe if a good idea comes along.
I got a question for you.
Oh, go for it, Gore.
Your avatar guy, what is that cutie mark supposed to be? I can't tell.
It's the hood ornament of a Plymouth Valiant.
It's a what?
Because his OC's name is Valiant.
It's the hood ornament of a Plymouth Valiant, a car from the 70s.
Okay.
So literally Google hood ornament Plymouth Valiant. That's what you'll get a picture of without, the orange pony attached.
A little bit, yeah. So that kind of started out as the OC for my self-insert that every author must write. And
Some better than others.
along the way, somebody smuggled in some cocaine, and he's not really
being a self-insert.
Yeah, it's not really a self-insert anymore. He's his own guy now, and turned into his little sociopath goddom. And
and his ex-girlfriend Lauren Faust.
And but at that point, I'd become a little bit too invested, and so I figured that this is my brand now. I will keep it on as a avatar.
He says, "Oh yeah, I grew too attached," and then you killed him off.
Hey, I killed him off because people voted to.
My point stands, but still.
Yeah, this is how I work. I take so much audience participation that I ask, "Hey guys, vote on who you want to kill," and they pick the main character.
Wow.
The fun we have.
Oh yes. So a lot of your stories involve humans and ponies interacting. Is that sort of your way of having real-world history interacting with ponies, or because you don't tend to? Well, because you often don't do ponies in the human world. You've done humans in the pony world, but not so much in the other way around. So why?
It started out a little bit more that way, mostly because I was responding to, if not a demand, at least the kind of stories that I wanted to read. There were so many stories of people in Equestria, but less the other way around.
Okay.
So I've done a few, and then I kind of backed off that as I found some other things to write. I've been on the website around about 4 years, so it, taste shift.
Yeah. Um, oh yeah, the AJ is a truck story is called What the Truck, in case anyone was wondering.
Yes, I feel like that I've done well with titles and descriptions. That really draws in readership if you have the image is less important, I think, but having a title and description that is eye-catching. I try to keep them under a paragraph. I found that the shorter the better.
What do you like? What sort of methods do you follow for coming up with titles and descriptions? Is there any set thing you follow, or what's your methodology?
Uh, the advantage of not knowing where stories are going when I begin to write them is that I can't spoil the ending in the description.
How did you
But
manage that with preventing yourself from doing that with like We Read the Night or the one-shot crack fix you've done?
typically, I try to come up with something that will adequately describe the initial bit of the story that's being uploaded, and then maybe a teaser for something a little bit more. Uh, if nothing else, I just basically describe the setting, and people who think that's an interesting setting and want to see where the story goes will then read the story. For example, in We Rent the Night, I say that Trixie has become a lunar guard, and then things get worse, and it goes from there. Uh, Early on, I did a lot of stories that were minimalist to the max, such as The Adventures of Vampire Cheerilee, and the description was, "It's exactly what it sounds like."
On the other hand, that certainly works.
Yeah, but nowadays that's kind of like frowned upon.
Well,
Yeah.
yes.
It wouldn't necessarily pass moderation if you tried that.
Well, I think it was that was actually the short description. The longer description was the local school teacher has developed a drinking problem. But yeah, The Adventures of Cyborg Brayburn, Celestia Visits the Colbert Report. A lot of my earlier stories were pretty minimalist. And honestly, maybe I should go back to that. It's sure easier than coming up with interesting titles. More descriptive too, especially if people are just passing their eye over it on the front page.
Do you think the title usually before you write a story, or do you after you have a couple of chapters, or at least the first one, then you decide the title of it?
It comes and goes. Sometimes the title comes first and I build the story around it. Sometimes the title is one of the last things I do. It's interesting how stories come together like that. For example, in We Rent the Night, I was drawing the cover art. The cover art has Trixie and 2 other lunar guards on it, and I didn't have any idea what these 2 other guards were like before I drew them. They were in the cover art, and it was only when I started writing it that I actually developed the characters.
Yeah, I mean, because like the title,
Oh,
the
this is
title
where
actually,
you're running into the issue where
the title is actually referenced in the story itself as well. So I found
A little
that
bit.
interesting. Like when she says like, "Why rent when why buy when I can rent?"
Yeah, I can't remember how I came up with that, but the phrase "we own the night" has been used here, there, and whatever, and so it was not only a play on that, but it was also a reference to Trixie not buying into the whole guard program, only renting.
Mm-hmm.
What are you smiling about, Core?
We're yelling at each other about why we're not carrying the conversation.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm having a good time listening to it on a brony.
I
Well,
have
thank you.
a stomach ache for
listening
the
to it.
record.
It keeps going back and forth between Ferret and.
Yeah,
I've
I'm
been-
usually not this entertaining in real
But then
life.
the thing is, she's talking about all your stories, and I've actually never read a single one of your stories, so I.
Now you're the fifth wheel.
What? What?
So
What
the
did you say?
The first 30 minutes of this chat, I was completely silent. You may have noticed because I had nothing to do with your Seattle Angels story reviews.
yeah.
So I just kind of.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's you. You're here. You're the guest. It's supposed to be about you at this point in time. But
Yeah.
since I don't know anything about you,
Yeah, I understand
and
you guys
Ferret's the
have
only one
got-
that
you guys have got
does.
things
She's
to
the only one that can really talk to you. So
Wonder read.
now it's my turn to just say
Wonder, you read 2 of my stories.
Huh?
I read a few, not just two. I'm actually like I'm looking through the whole list, and I'm like, damn, I read that thing. I was like, that was him. Hey, I hated this
somebody's
one.
like, oh wow.
Yeah, it happens sometimes.
I
guess
read.
that's. Sorry.
Oh,
What?
I read a couple of your stories while you were talking. So
Oh, okay, that's good. That's the beauty of having everything, because some one-shots are bare minimum word counts. I
Here's a
wrote 2
question
stories
for
in
you,
2
T.
days that were both 1,234 words long.
By which
Both
word
of them were
count?
exactly 1,224. Both
Yep,
of them.
2 of them. 2 of them in a
Wow,
row.
back to
Yeah.
back. Nice.
And then I've got one story that's gone 250,000 words because it's got a chapter for every episode.
Wow. Is that like a response fic kind of thing going on?
A little bit. This is the
Started
self-insert
like
that I
one.
wrote. I inserted an OC into the show and basically took it from there. And around about chapter 12, I realized that it'd be way funnier if he started pushing democracy and brewing tequila.
And
Okay.
turning ponies into robots.
Yes, and robots.
So are these are basically those episodes, but with him in it, or what?
Pretty much, yeah. And not to spoil too much, but as you get further into the story, well, I really wouldn't spoil too much, but it's got vampire cheerleading.
No.
And robots and tequila and irresponsible things done to, with, and for children.
It has Trixie turning into a spider pony and riding a skateboard and having a lot of.
So basically, we can
off-camera-
summarize it as it escalates.
It escalates. That is perfect.
And then it sort
You
of
are
goes
full
off
of
the
great
rails.
lines tonight. It escalates. I'm going to use that for the new score description. It escalates.
That basically sums it up. I mean, it did originally start as sort of a response fic to the chapters, and then it just starts deviating. And then it'll come back, and then it wanders off, and it keeps wandering for longer and longer periods until it just sort of stops listening to the rest of the episodes.
You know, I like it better when it goes like that. It's better when it goes like that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a great platform for criticism and riffing on things.
So here's a question for you, T. I know this is an EQD sort of question. How come you've never submitted any of your stories to us?
I did once.
Yeah?
It was enough.
Yeah, I submitted Celestia Visits the Colbert Report 3 years ago, and nobody ever got back to me.
Oh. I need to go back and start getting people again.
It's okay. I don't submit a lot of my stories because typically people want me to change things, and I've largely come to the idea that I just generally don't change stories after I've written them.
That's fair.
I think it helps me see how I've progressed as an author, but at the same time, I wouldn't want a significant change to throw people who'd already read the story off their game.
Yeah, I can understand that feeling. I was just curious because, I mean, you're going on, I think, 100 stories now.
Yes, I'm currently working on my 99th story, and I'll have it up early next week.
And presumably you have major plans for your 100th story?
Nope.
Oh my god.
You should totally do like a 1,000 words graphic.
Yeah, you're not gonna go like slice of life, like
I mean, I've written slice of life stories.
No. He means
No,
like you're not going to take the episode slice of life. Like you're going to take all your
because that was episode 100.
I mean, it'd be interesting. Probably what I'm going to do is post a blog soliciting ideas because I would be nothing without my followers, and they're the ones that followed me to this. Currently, what I think would be most likely to happen would be setting up a Google Doc and then having people watch me write live and submit comments as I write. I've done this once.
That Flufflepuff story?
Yes, I did this once before. So Captain Pip and the Cave of Fluffy Horrors. Pipsqueak and Luna go on a dream vision. There's a space shuttle. Yeah.
I seem to recall that was also, I think you let people directly write in that doc, which helped it go quite insane.
Yeah, pretty much, pretty much.
Well,
I don't
at
know.
least when that happens, you can claim that you were not necessarily completely responsible.
It's not my fault. My fans did it.
Hey,
Yeah.
as long as they like it. The problem is that could lead to going off the rails and not being site-worthy. I once wrote a book. Well, it wasn't a book. Of course, it was about a book. It was called Daring Do and the Tome of Insanity. It was written using words that people had submitted. I posted a blog saying, "Submit a word, and I will use your word in the story."
I do seem to recall this.
And unfortunately, because stories about the site or its users are not allowed, I was not able to make it through submission.
On the other hand, you can always keep it as a blog post or link it in that fashion.
I have my advanced story directory, and that is where it is.
Excellent choice.
Honestly, to be fair, I'm already over 100 stories because of that one and another non-submitted story I have.
Yeah, but it's not official. That doesn't count.
Yeah, just like Fixer didn't happen.
I never plan anything special for big milestones because that just makes me feel more pressured than I usually do.
Yeah, that's why I'm blowing mine off. Letting people
Like-
write it for me.
Just outsourcing your own.
I mean, your big
work.
milestone was check it out. I'm brilliant, and planned these jokes months in advance, and none of you realized it.
That wasn't really a milestone. I did that last year for season 4 too.
But that's something of a milestone. I think we'll have potentially come to expect those posts.
Well, I
Of your
suppose so.
latest, look at how amazing and brilliant I am.
Well, you have to toot your own horn a little bit, or otherwise they'll spoil and explode. I don't know. I try to keep humble on things like this.
Yeah.
My fan base keeps me grounded. It's nice.
And at the same time, it
That's
is
another
really
reason why I haven't
impressive
submitted.
that
It's another reason why I haven't submitted EQD. I'm not in it for the views.
that's fair. In terms of the, look at how smart I am blog post, I think it's a valid one because it is stuff that, nobody realized how long you'd been setting up these jokes for. So I don't see it as arrogance by any means. I think it's appropriate to go, hey, check it, I actually did this, and it's kind of awesome.
Well, at the same time, admitting to setting up a joke to have a punchline 7 months later is...
Hilarious.
I'm glad you said it. I was going to say insane, but...
Well, yes, but I figured that was kind of a given with the whole you're doing it for a story about pastel ponies.
Well,
Including one who has, a car hood ornament from the 70s on his butt.
as I said at the humor panel at BronyCon, I'm not really that funny in real life, so I have to do it on the internet and keep a whole lot of notes to set these things up. I believe my phrase I used was, if you can't dazzle them with brilliance, amaze them with dedication.
That's an interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah, I'll agree with that.
I don't know.
You're not going to laugh.
The way I treat my fan base, if it can be called that, is basically like, well, you guys already like my stuff, so here's more of the same.
Yeah.
And
I treat my fan
Speaking of-
base. That's all I do.
speaking as one of your fans, Squirrel, I'm totally okay with that.
Okay, sure. Thanks. At the same time, though,
Oh, no, just thanks, yeah.
at the same time, though, the experimentation and multitude of styles I do can sometimes clash. For example, sometimes I write stuff that my followers largely ignore because it's completely different than what I've done before. It's all right.
I
You
hear
guys,
that.
you
It's
guys,
I admire authors that actually do that. Don't stick to the one thing. Because it is hard, sometimes you write something that's completely different, and then no one pays attention to it, but you're still doing it, so that's a good thing.
I got into this fandom because I wanted to write stories that I couldn't find. If the story didn't exist, I decided I would write it myself. As a consequence, my very first story involved battleships, and there seemed to be a niche of people that had similar interest to me, and so I just kind of kept going in that vein. I have an idea. It seems like an idea of a story that I would want to read, and so I read it. And And it goes from there. And sometimes people respond.
Hmm.
At the same time, though, I really could do more pandering. Maybe I should. The shipping story will probably be about pandering. It'll be just vague enough that people will see it and think it's clop, and that'll probably get me way more views.
Yeah, what you gotta do is pander to a niche that doesn't exist yet. Carve it out yourself.
See, I did that, and now that it does exist, I mean, who else?
I actually just discovered a niche, like in my comments for one of the stories. Now I'm going to start writing twice stories. You know, like as in Twilight and Lemon Zest dating.
Oh.
I'll give you for 2 minutes, and this is what happens.
Isn't Lemon? I'm sorry. Isn't Lemon just the girl from the
Yes.
third movie? Yeah.
You're thinking of the
director.
headphones.
Yeah.
I thought you said twice cessed for a moment.
So did I. That's what I
Yeah,
heard too.
That's why they named it. I would, you know, like
Twice
I don't think there's an actual way that you can say it, like actually speak it out that doesn't sound dirty.
Wait, well, wouldn't you just say twice zest because it's lemon zest?
Lemon zest.
But depending on your accent, that could be the same thing.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
that's why we heard zest because he's.
I have a weird accent. Yeah,
It'd be even worse if you were French.
Please.
In case you didn't know, he has a bit of an accent.
I know you can't tell.
Even worse
But
if you were French. You know, the end of the world.
what was that?
I said it'd be even worse if you were French. The end of the world. I know I'm reaching back in internet history here. But
You mean that one
secret.
animatic thing where like everyone's
Yeah.
like shooting nukes at everybody, and the one
Yes.
gets that.
Fire the missiles, but I'm a little tired. Well, have it up. Then fire the missiles. Yes, Z Frank, his end of the world. Oh God, now I have to go watch that again. Damn it.
Yeah, so do I.
All right, do we have anything else we'd like to talk about, or should we start wrapping this thing up?
Or should we all go watch the end of the world?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
we should
All
do
right.
that.
Thank you, everyone. It's been awesome. Thank you, T, for coming out. I'm sorry there were so many dead spots. I think the problem is you're so efficient in what you say that we're not used to it. We're used to authors who really ramble and go on a lot, because that's what we all do.
That's typically how panels go too.
You're
I
just
have
too
been-
efficient.
I've been sick all weekend. I consider it an accomplishment that I even got the hang up running. So
We appreciate that you got it running, Squirrel. We love you, and we hope you feel better soon.
yeah,
Go cuddle up with your fluffy tail. That will help.
I literally have a whole table full of stuffed animals in my room.
Well, why aren't they on your bed so you can cuddle with them?
Celestia better be like right in the middle of it.
Let's
She
say in point
is
of
actually.
pride.
She
Good.
is the tallest. She is actually the tallest stuffed animal on my desk.
She
Yeah.
should be. I mean, she's pretty tall. Can you turn your camera on so we can see this giant pile of plushies that you got? I know you got the camera.
You can go to my YouTube channel and watch my videos because
I
Celestia.
have.
Celestia.
That's
You know, like what,
that's
like-
why I've seen your Celestia back behind you over your right shoulder.
So tall, she keeps poking her head into the camera. So
She does.
I suddenly had an urge to turn the camera on and show you this pile of passports, but that's not a good idea.
No, that's
Maybe
probably
you
not.
just turn the camera on.
All right, so you said something about wrapping up?